Midday in the Queen City. Business is booming. We've got changes coming to businesses in the city of Covington, and also lots of help for businesses looking to cut down on their waste. More help than you think. Let's do lunch. Cincinnati is a city that means business. Fortune 500 company HQs, renowned institutions like Children's Hospital and the Cincinnati Zoo, and letters that everyone here knows: TQL, GE, CVG, UC, and X. It's also a city that's large enough for new ideas to take root and grow. You know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, and you're in business. I'm Jack Crumley, and this is The Working Lunch. Hello, welcome to The Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley. Are you dried out? Did you get your umbrella shaken out? How's your yard? How's your basement? Nasty storms that came through last night and this morning with some really heavy rain. We will talk about a little bit of that later on in the show, but right now this is our hour-long business show here on The Crown, where we give you headlines about activities for local businesses, bring you interviews with local leaders, and we do our best to squeeze in a bite to eat, maybe something to drink before you go back to face the afternoon. Glad to have you here. We are almost done with the week. Cincinnati business headlines. To start out, we do have some breaking news to bring you. It was the Inquirer, the first to report this morning that Cincinnati restaurants are now going to be eligible to earn Michelin stars. That is the top honor in the restaurant world. It comes in the aftermath of Michelin Guide creating a Great Lakes edition last year that for some reason did not include Cincinnati. I know we're not exactly on the lake, but come on. That reporting in the paper this morning says that there are already anonymous Michelin Guide inspectors checking out Cincinnati's restaurant scene. This is a tremendous opportunity for restaurant business in the city to be listed in that guide. It all comes after Jeff Harris of Nolia, Sarah Dworak of Sedova, and Dave Willocks of the Baker's Table were all nominees for James Beard Awards. That also happened just this week. It is worth noting restaurants are ranked by 5 criteria for Michelin stars: product quality, mastery of cooking techniques, harmony of flavors, the personality of the chef in the food, and the consistency across the menu. Be keeping an eye out for that. Again, they already have some anonymous people judging in the city now. We'll be looking to see who makes the initial list. In the local music scene, this has been a topic of debate for weeks now. Cincinnati City Council on Wednesday voted 6-3 to put $2 million in the city budget specifically for the new Farmer Music Center, which is currently under construction. That is the dollar amount that the mayor recommended, which was reduced from the recommendation that originally came from the city manager. At last word, MEMI is still working to raise the rest of the funds needed to build that new concert venue. There's also a lot of talk in the city about guaranteed dollar amounts from a ticket tax in connection with that city funding going into the project. TriHealth is making leadership changes, a major employer here in the city making some changes near the top in the C-suite. That is John Ward right there. He was the SVP of the Bethesda North region. The Business Courier reporting that he is the new TriHealth COO. They are hiring from within for this position. It comes after Terry Hanlon-Bremer went from COO to being the CEO. That all happened just at the start of the month. So I don't know about you, everybody's algo is different, but I saw a lot of social media posts about this place going back for the last couple of months. Sharks nightclub in Over the Rhine on Elm Street, just south of McMicken, has announced it is closing later on this month. Ownership acknowledging that the club's time was short-lived. No real reason given for the closure. Sharks nightclub's final event going to be the Cincinnati Pride After Party. That is on June 27th. We're getting ready for a big weekend at the Banks. A whole lot going on here for Father's Day weekend. Banks leadership held a news conference this morning to talk about the count 'em, three sold-out Savannah Banana games that are going on at Great American Ballpark, drawing a huge crowd. Here's what it was like when they were here last year.
Third trick play of the season for Cowboy Kyle. All of them have been his signature football hype. And Carell Prime picks up one of his own, fielding it behind the back.
Now, coming to bat, a two-time All-Star, Run Derby champion from your Cincinnati Reds, Todd Frazier!
Cool moment for the Todd father, Todd Frazier. Beloved everywhere he went across his 11-year MLB career.
You know, what an impressive organization that is, that has really just grown and grown and grown in popularity, bringing sold-out crowds. Again, 3 sold-out games that are going to be at Great American Ballpark here this weekend. A ton of social media activity that they do to really spread the word. Everybody has a blast. And, of course, you have moments like that last year where Todd Frazier comes out on the field to a cheering crowd all over again. The Banks is also holding watch parties for Team USA and Germany World Cup matches. Also, there are Juneteenth celebrations going on at the Banks. The Banks calling this one of the busiest weekends of the summer. Speaking of World Cup, you know we've got the fever here. Also, Hard Rock Casino Cincinnati is getting in on all the soccer promotional action. All teams, one place is Hard Rock International's celebration campaign for the World Cup. Locally, that means a limited time menu in the Hard Rock Cafe, which includes the Messi Legendary Burger. And I got to give a spoiler alert here. If it's anything like the Messi branded potato chips that came out, they don't taste like Messi. I think that's a false advertising. There is also the Global Messi Sweepstakes, where fans around the world can win a meet and greet with Leo Messi. That also includes a round-trip flight to South Florida and a 2-night stay at the Guitar Hotel at Seminole Hard Rock. Sticking around in restaurant news, Shake Shack is opening its 5th location in the area today. This new spot bringing some competition to Five Guys. The new location, you can see it there, that's opening in Rookwood, where Boston Market used to be. Putting Shake Shack locations in Liberty Center previously. There's another one in the UC area. Deerfield Township has one. There is one in Kenwood. And now this one in Rookwood. Over 300 Shake Shack restaurants across the country. And, of course, that all started as a hot dog cart in New York City 20 years ago. Speaking of restaurants, speaking of big bites, for today's Big Bite, there have been some economic development headlines coming out of Covington recently. Some vacant land in the city of Covington, which was recently acquired, that the Covington Neighborhood Services Department is putting out requests for proposals on. Those are RFPs. That's in the Pieselberg neighborhood, and there is one other. They're looking for qualified developers to develop the property into new homes. A constant need here in the tri-state area. The latest 2 RFPs involve 28 city-owned parcels covering about 3 acres. Both are for market rate home development. That could be single family homes, condos, or something else. Proposals are due in the next month. You can get the documents through the Covington procurement portal. But that's just among some of the latest headlines. Work has begun, as we know, on the new NKU team-up building with UK, the Combo Doctor Lawyer building near the Covington riverfront. A groundbreaking was held there just last week. That's a rendering of what that's going to look like, always sort of busy in that northern Covington area right along the river. We also told you previously about Urban Site's plans to build on the former World Peace Bell site. That's in Newport, but just across the Licking River back into Covington as we continue through today's Big Bite. Urban Sites is also working on the Bavarian. There's a rendering of that's what that will look like. That is a more than 100-unit apartment building being built on top of a parking garage. That's all right next to the Kenton County Government Center. That part of town, right around the Kenton County Government Center, is also where the northbound 75 exit to Pike Street is going to be closed for like the next year or so as part of the Brent Spence Corridor project. A lot of activity going on in Covington. That closure of that exit ramp is going to have traffic detouring north all the way up to the 5th Street exit in Covington, right there pretty close to Mainstrasse, having people take 5th Street, go north to loop around up to 4th, and then come back down south and taking the exit on the southbound side. side. Covington's 2025 Impact Report was released just earlier this year, highlighting investment, job creation, and more all across the city. That report is titled Timeless Grit, Modern Growth, and it makes the case that Covington is a solid place for businesses to invest from the future. Going through some of the highlights there, $92 million in total capital investment, more than 1,000 total jobs, $4 million worth of total city incentives. City ROI there is good. In that report from last year, 2025 metrics, for every dollar that was invested in the city of Covington, $10 on the return, a couple dozen small business incentives going on worth more than 141 grand. These are just some of the numbers for Covington and how enticing it is to spend money and invest there. We do have one other slide that we can go to from this Covington 2025 economic report, detailing some of the various elements and what Covington is reviewing for itself as far as why it's worth it to invest in Covington. The big number is the headline across the top. Covington businesses combined annual payroll crossing $1 billion. That is a really big milestone for the city. You can see a quote there from Covington Mayor Ron Washington at the bottom, talking about how important it is for that city to cross the $1 billion mark when it comes to combined annual payroll. If Covington's a city that you're interested in, if you're a business owner, the QR code right there for you as well. Covington was named as having one of the 40 most charming small-town downtowns in the country. That designation given by HGTV last year. Also, Food and Wine magazine says that it's one of the top small U.S. cities for food and drink. You know, we talk about restaurants on this show a lot, and for my money, Kung Food Amerasia is one of my favorite restaurants. That's right there in Covington. I think they have the best Kung Pao chicken maybe in the area. We talked yesterday about Covington's Taco and Margarita Festival. That's coming up this weekend at Goble Park. The city has a number of other tourist destinations that get their own video from Visit Cincy. Take a look. Yeah, see, I knew they had that Kung Food Amerasia shingle out front as part of the video. So in Visit Cincy, this is the tourist destination video. They put together one specifically for Covington to sort of show what role Covington plays in the economic development of the area, reasons for people to come and visit. Recent news about the business of the city of Covington. Coming up after the break, we do have Covington City Manager Sharmili Reddy. She's going to come on to talk about a recent piece of land that the city of Covington has acquired and what the plans for it are. We're going to go over that and more, all coming up next. Take a look at some local stocks of interest. You're watching The Working Lunch here on The Crown. Stick around.
What is The Crown? It's simple, really. Authentic Cincinnati entertainment. Not hot takes from a studio 3 states away. Not national noise pretending to know this city. Rather, bringing a voice to those who call the Queen City home. Where can I watch The Crown shows? Join us live from 7 to 11 a.m. for First Word and 12 to 1 for The Working Lunch on RESN. No live TV? No problem. Stream and interact with all of our content on major podcast, broadcast, and streaming platforms. The Crown is Cincinnati. Loud, passionate, competitive, proud. From early morning sports debates to the business leaders shaping the riverfront, to the fans, stories, moments, and culture that make this place move. Live shows, podcasts, documentaries, digital content built from Cincinnati, for Cincinnati. This is The Crown.
Dinner! Dinner! Hey.
All right.
Whoa.
Great job.
Yeah.
Woo!
Hey! It was great.
How'd that feel?
Intense. It was good. Kind of a fight to the death, you know? That's cool. What?
And you got,
Yeah, it's cool.
and you got right back up.
Yeah, it's cool.
All right.
Let's do it again.
Yeah.
I'm trying to score the punches to go through. I was really like, I did it!
Yes. All right, go ahead and keep going. If you keep going, you can come around and score points.
We do have a game coming up, so they tend to be a little more focused and like strict.
Now this green line is what you're trying to not go out of.
Okay.
Going out, so now you have to go back behind. Nope. Right behind our friend right here. Yeah, do it out. Yep.
Okay.
Nice. Let's go.
Good one. Move my butt. Okay. Hey. I got a big old tank, baby. I think I'm better skating backwards than frontwards. Ooh, everything's fine. Oh my God! You literally, I went for boys.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Fast, hard.
Wow! Oh my God! Yeah. Really did try to go hard.
Yeah, and you could have kept like, you could have went in hard.
Welcome back to the Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley. We are talking all things business, of course, here in the city of Cincinnati and in the tri-state region, putting a little more of a focus than usual on northern Kentucky. It's really important for me that we keep all sorts of different parts of our region in the conversation. Northern suburbs, into the downtown Cincinnati area, out into Claremont County, further east, where there's obviously a ton of development going on, and in northern Kentucky, a growing region. You saw we just talked about the city of Covington and everything that's going on there. I am happy to have on now the city manager for Covington, Sharmili Reddy. Sharmili, thank you very much for having time to come on the show. I know you're really busy with various things going on in the city.
Thank you for having me.
So, hey, the main thing that I reached out to initially about having you on was this report that came out earlier this month about the city of Covington making a purchase of about an acre of land along Pike Street, 257 Pike Street. That is potentially going to be a farmer's market, but you guys are looking for some public input on what to do with this land. I guess starting off, how did this particular sale come about?
Everything that you said is exactly right. Covington has been searching for a permanent location for a farmer's market for many years. And we're currently on Washington Street, in the 6th Street, in the vicinity of the 6th Street area, but it's moved around so many times. It's been at Main Strasse, it's been at Goble Park, it's been in the Roebling area. And we realized that for this market to actually grow, it needs to be established a little bit more. And so having a more permanent location at this point in time made sense.
Okay, so go on, please.
No, I was just going to say that this was the perfect opportunity for us to work on this unique partnership that we have with the Covington Independent Schools, the Motor Vehicle Parking Authority, and also the Center for Great Neighborhoods, all of who will be at this open house.
Yeah, I saw that the land is owned by Covington Independent Schools, and obviously there's a larger partnership that some of the reporting on this land sale talked about, collaborative development opportunity between the city, the school district, the Center for Great Neighborhoods. This is you guys are juggling a bunch of different groups all working together on this one parcel of land.
We are, because that's what it's going to take to get this project done. We do believe that it is in a very, very up and coming corridor of Covington, which Pike Street is an important gateway for the city. And we've seen some significant private investments by smaller developers in the last couple of years. We have a beautiful coffee shop. We have a fitness place. We have a deli. We have residential development happening in this corridor. So it's getting stronger and stronger, and having a farmers market in that corridor just makes perfect sense for us. And to pull that off, we need all of these partners.
Yeah, right. A bunch of different, many hands making light work. What would it involve for the city? You guys have acquired this land. It would stay city-owned land if it does become a permanent farmers market. Does that involve any new construction of like pavilions or utility work or anything like that in the area?
Yeah, we're still working through those nuances on who will actually own it, but we do have a entity that runs our farmers market. So the Center for Great Neighborhoods actually is already very involved in the farmers market, in our current farmers market. So we're still working through those nuances, but we're going to need each one of these partners to kind of step up and help out. Of course, we're going to be an integral part of the conversation. We'll make some infrastructure improvements around. And the pavilion itself, of course, these are the things that we'll be able to talk to and get and seek public feedback on at the open house about the pavilion, about the use of the space around it, about the retail and different components of this project.
Yeah, you guys are, you're still taking public input. The idea is that this would be a permanent location for a farmer's market, but you are having an open house on July 13th. That's going to be in the afternoon. As far as I know, there isn't a specific location on that. I'm sure the city will be putting out the word, but I mean, the idea that you're still taking public input, does that mean that you're not fully married to the idea that this would be a farmer's market?
Yeah, we really are interested in hearing from the public about what they think about it. And the drawing that we put out it's a conceptual rendering so that people have something to reflect on and respond to. So we want people to come in and be able to say, you know, if you're going to put a farmer's market here, then it needs to fit in with the character of the urban neighborhood around. Or we might have people say, hey, there should be a small retail component, and here's the kind of retail that's missing in our neighborhood that we'd really like you all to attract. Or they might say, we'd like to see the parking lot have green components. I mean, there's all kinds of input that can be provided on the concept that we're putting out. And the cool thing about the open house is that people will have an opportunity to talk to each one of our partners that is going to play a very specific role in this project.
Yeah, that's great. So that's coming up again in July 13th. I'll be keeping an eye out to put the word out to folks on when that's going on. So, you know, in the Big Bite segment, I was trying to give a pretty nice zoomed out view on everything that Covington has going on. You guys crossing that $1 billion mark for total payroll. You talked about what an important part Pike Street is to a major corridor in the city. You guys have a tremendous amount of development going on. How important is it for you to balance that with also dealing with challenges like the construction for the Brent Spence, really having a lot of traffic rerouted away from Pike Street and up closer to Main Strasse?
Well, I'll tell you what, in spite of all this infrastructure happening around us, nothing is slowing down in Covington. People still want to continue to be in Covington. They're visiting us. Nothing is really stopping anybody from coming to our city, which is fantastic. There is just a lot of momentum right now. We've got development at the central Covington riverfront site. We've got the convention center that is going to undergo a major renovation. We've got the Commonwealth Center with the UK and NKU universities going in there. So we've got that happening. We've invested in the CNO Roundhouse, which was formerly the Judo-Bragg project. We'll see some development there over time. There's just, I mean, I could go on and on and on with development projects that it's just not going to slow down because of the infrastructure stuff happening around us. If anything, it's just going to propel, I think, the level of development and interest that we're going to have in our city.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you specifically about the old IRS site with that big development. That is essentially going to be a new neighborhood in Covington, right?
Absolutely. And that's how it was envisioned when the original thought process behind that was developed. So, yeah, right now we're seeing construction of the single family homes and townhomes. The next step will be a mixed use development with apartments. The second phase of that project has a garage, a public garage with office space and a hotel. I mean, just an incredible level of development that'll bring back the street grid, which the city has invested in and will continue to invest in getting the project done. So it is essentially going to be a whole new neighborhood in that area.
Yeah, that's a really big development. And then just north of there, up closer to the riverfront where the convention center is, that whole development, that Corporex facility has been very busy along that road. And that's where the biomedical building is going to be, this combo between NKU and UK doing medical science and also legal departments. What was it like to see that project come together with those two institutions?
I mean, obviously, we're thrilled to have more people in our city because, again, it brings a lot of folks here. It develops our economy. It helps our restaurants. It helps our neighborhoods. So we are thrilled that instead of a parking lot, there's going to be a development there that's actually going to bring people in. Of course, we always try to balance all of this with what our community wants and is willing to accept. So that's the pace at which we want to move. And right now, again, we're seeing incredible momentum.
Yeah, no, it's really impressive stuff, and that's in addition, along with the idea that exit ramp is shut down for a while, and then also the Licking River Bridge connecting things to Newport is also down. You guys are sort of doing all this development with like an arm or two tied behind your back, at least in terms of ease of transportation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so again, I think there's a lot happening in the city that when all of these projects are done, it is just going to be amazing. But none of this is really stopping from these projects from moving forward. We're still getting interest in our small businesses. We're still getting interest in our spaces. People still want to live in our city. In fact, that's the one thing we hear a lot is, hey, we want to move into Covington. Where can we be? So yeah, I mean, infrastructure is just something that's going to have to keep up with all the stuff that we want to do. So we're excited to see both of those happening.
That's great. Sharmili Reddy is the city manager for the city of Covington, Kentucky. Good luck on everything you guys have going forward. Please keep us in the loop if there are any new developments, if you want to get the word out about stuff. Really excited to see all the new things that are coming to your city. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate that very much. So that's Sharmili Reddy. That is the city manager for the city of Covington, talking about all the different things that city has going on. Developments, mixed use, new neighborhoods, businesses coming like crazy. And that is in spite of some challenges on infrastructure. If anything, having some of those infrastructure challenges is a bit of a holding pattern. So then once everything is back to normal, look at all the new stuff people have to come and check out. We are going to take another break. When we get back, we are going to speak to someone talking from Hamilton County Resource, which is an organization that helps reach out to kids and businesses about ways to reduce waste. It's easier than you think, and there are more options available for businesses than one might think. Why don't we take a look at some stocks here? Local interest going into the break. We'll be back with more Working Lunch after this. You're watching The Crown.
what part of it do you think you struggled with the most? And I don't want to know about, you know, the intricacies of relationships or whatnot, but what about the structure of your life at the time did you really have a hard time with?
Well, I guess it would be sharing so much information about my personal life. And just in the back end of things, I just never felt like they always just wanted more. And I'm like, well, I can't be more funny. Like, this is it. And I can't be, yeah, and like I've shared like very vulnerable moments. Like, I don't know what else you want me to do. And then at a point where I'm just like, I don't know if they value me.
I was just gonna ask, did you ever feel valued or appreciated?
At some points, and by most of my coworkers, yes. By some people in the building, like we just wouldn't see eye to eye. And I think that's gonna happen anywhere. It happens.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was mad, and I'm like, I can't give you any more than what I'm giving. Okay? And for a long time, I was just like, wow, you know, I worked at this radio station, I gave them my life, and I wasn't good enough, and then I get let go. What do I do now? And for a moment, I was frustrated and upset, and like rejection sucks. But now I'm just like, they did me a favor. And honestly, like I grew so much in that time, I wouldn't have had social media. And now I'm like making a small business out of
You're
that.
a social media queen.
Thank
As
you.
somebody who went from 0 to 100, and you like really lean into it. I'm a social, like I look at people like you, and I'm like, you like really lean into it and love it and do it well. And it's so great.
You're really sweet to say that, because
Yeah.
then, you know, just like the voice in your head, it's like, I'm not doing enough, I'm not creating enough, I need to post a picture today. I'm not gonna post a picture because it doesn't feel authentic. And then I overthink for 45 minutes. And so then it's like,
Dude, the pressure to post every day. I haven't thought about that.
I think I should get bangs. What do you guys think? And I'm like, that's the post?
It's a great post.
I'm not getting bangs.
But thank God. Okay. Can you?
Every morning, Cincinnati wakes up and gets to work. Companies are built, deals are made, restaurants open, ideas become careers, and every day the people behind it all sit down at the working lunch. Founders, CEOs, entrepreneurs, community leaders, the people building Cincinnati. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley, weekdays, noon to 1, only on The Crown.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you the stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
Welcome back to the Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley. We are rolling through on this Thursday afternoon, the way all those storms and potential tornadoes rolled through the area last night. I am joined now by Elise Earhart, who is an outreach specialist with Hamilton County Resource, which is an organization that's under the umbrella of the county in general. And is it the Waste Management Department? What's your exact category?
The Solid Waste Management Department of Hamilton County Environmental Services. So that umbrella of environmental services includes air quality and the Solid Waste District, which is us. It's
so
not the most fun name, so we go by Hamilton County Resource.
Well, and not the most fun job maybe sometimes, because you're dealing with, you're dealing with garbage on the red, right?
We are, and more specifically, we're trying to get rid of garbage and really try to divert those sources of waste that typically go to the landfill. Try to keep them out by recycling, reusing, and then of course reducing the waste in the first place.
Yeah, and that's the real key sort of for what we're going to be talking about specifically when it comes to business-related things. You are the outreach specialist. Does that mean like coming on to shows and talking about what you guys are doing, or are there different kinds of outreach is the county doing?
So I have done a lot of media stuff recently, but I typically do a lot of presentations for community organizations, for residents, for schools and businesses. And we do a lot of work in terms of out at events and at festivals, trying to spread the word on our services, what programs that we offer to help support people in reducing, reusing, and recycling.
Yeah, I mean, teaching the kids, that's been a thing of
Very important.
since I was a kid, learning about the ozone layer, and then recycling became a thing, and getting them used to not just chucking something into a garbage can. Does it feel like an uphill battle sometimes?
Yes, it does. However, we see a lot of hope in the youth. We see a lot of hope in the kids, and we do have some really amazing community ambassadors that just, you find those few people in the neighborhoods and they really boost up their community, and they become kind of the beacon of hope for us.
Yeah, sure.
And we reach out to them, and there might be some here and there in the businesses or in the city who are just really great advocates, and they help us spread the word.
So speaking of resources in the business community, you guys had the inaugural Hamilton County Resource Pledge Day earlier in the spring. What was that?
Yes, so the Pledge Day was a way to bring some attention to the programs that we have for all the businesses and organizations in Hamilton County. And when I say programs, I mean grant funding support, I mean waste audits, all of these different things that we can offer for free to help these businesses increase their sustainability and reduce their waste.
Yeah, so I think these are pictures from Pledge Day.
Yes,
with county leaders, and you had different business owners signing the pledge on the recycle bin?
Yes, so we really wanted to bring forth a lot of, again, nonprofits, some for-profit businesses. We had just some community groups there, some residents there that were big parts of schools or other neighborhood organizations. And we were really trying to highlight those that were already working towards sustainability and had received our 513 Green Sustainability Certification, to also the ones that are looking to really start. They're not sure where to start or what they can do to take the first step. And we wanted to show them that there's such a range. It doesn't matter where you are in your sustainability path as a business or organization, you can do anything to take the next step. And that's all we wanted them to do, was sign that pledge and set themselves up for more success.
Yeah, and signing that pledge and doing what you can to try to cut back on what goes into the landfill. You guys had a commercial waste characterization study that came out last year that had some, it's not necessarily surprising results, but it's important to get it actually quantified, right?
Yes, so we have some big news, and really the biggest thing is that the food waste sector that's going towards the landfill, all that food that really could be diverted and put elsewhere, coming from restaurants, grocery stores, and places like hotels and other businesses. We really want to focus on food waste, but also there's all kinds of recyclable opportunities where people are sending cans and bottles and cardboard to the garbage when it could be recycled.
I thought we learned all this already.
Yes.
Okay, but I mean, you got to be reminded.
It's a tricky thing because I think a lot of folks understand they might know what it is, but how to do it within their business process or their structure, it might not have been built in when they started their business or continue. So we want to provide that support and assistance to give them the ability and the infrastructure to do those basic recycling, reducing, reusing practices.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're talking about, say, a restaurant specifically where every second counts and you develop the most efficient workflow that you can in order to make sure that things get from the bowl into the pan, onto the plate, and in front of people, that figuring out the ways to reduce waste and to...
Where are we going to do that?
How do you work that in? So, but you guys can come in and then sort of show them ways to do that. Tell me more about that process.
So we're sort of we call ourselves jokingly free waste consultants, and we want to be in there. We want to meet with the businesses and organizations and help them figure out their strategy. What's going on right now? What is their base needs? What do they really need to focus on right now? And how can we take that next step by step, to get from, maybe they just need some recycle bins. We can get them recycle bins.
That's easy.
Maybe they need to be set up with a food scrap collection service like Queen City Commons or Go Zero, and they need some assistance with taking that excess food, maybe those food scraps from the kitchen that would normally go in the garbage, those carrot tops, strawberry tops, all that stuff.
Eggshells,
yes, and send it to a composting facility instead of wasting that. And how do we get that system not just set up in their organization, but also how do we train the staff to learn that system and potentially relearn? I think the education part is It's the most important, but it's also the most difficult because, first of all, when are you going to get everybody into that space together? You've got to schedule it. We've got to work with you to get everybody scheduled. And maybe it takes like 4 different presentations and we come in at 4 different times for each shift. Whatever it takes, we are happy to help. That's our purpose.
Yeah, so so how has the response to that been? Because that is a little bit of a tall ask. Get everybody around when you're also trying to maybe run a restaurant and how has the response been?
I think on the restaurant end, it's been low because they don't quite have the time yet, or maybe they don't know about it yet. But for those that do know about it, it's been brilliant. The leaps and bounds that they have been able to take with our help with potential grant funding that we can provide or infrastructure that we can help them with, maybe a new setup of their space that we can help them with to be more efficient.
Yeah, when you say help them with, I mean, you were telling me before we started this interview about some different money and equipment that's available that can come from the county for organizations and businesses that want to get more involved in this stuff.
Absolutely.
Like
so
what?
We can provide grant funding, or it might not necessarily be a grant. Maybe it's a little less than that. So we can provide a smaller amount of funding, or we can provide a full grant funding for things like freezers to make your food last longer. If you need an extra freezer to make your food last longer, great, we can do that. If you need a dishwasher to do more reusable dishes in your office or something of the sort, we can help provide a dishwasher. We can provide the funding for that. And it goes on and on and on, but it's all about we can provide the infrastructure and pay for it if it's going to help you reduce your waste.
Yeah. Well, and certainly there is a marketing angle available for a given restaurant that maybe wants to get involved with this program. Yeah, being able to publicly tell people, hey, we're, what did you call it, 513 Green certified? There, I mean, that is an absolutely, that's a marketing opportunity for a given restaurant to try to attract environmentally conscious customers to let them know, hey, we are composting as much as we can. We are, using reusable dishes. We're using maybe cloth napkins. Like, there's a lot of options there.
And people want to support those things. People are happy to do the right thing. They're trying to do the right thing. And we see more and more, especially younger generations, but also some of the older ones as well, who are really trying to support more local and more sustainable operations.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a marketing thing.
What was there is a grant, right? The Food Rescue Equipment Grant offering up to $200,000 per project for organizations working to divert surplus food from landfills. Is that what you were talking about before? Is this different?
That's one of them.
Yeah.
That's one of the grants, and we have more. There's the Waste Reduction Innovation Grant. There's the Impact Grant. We have more grants, but the food waste one, that's a big one, especially for restaurants.
Well, especially for restaurants, between, according to these stats from this commercial waste characterization study, between 67 and 84% of commercial waste could be kept out of a landfill.
Yeah.
And now there's money available if an organization or a business wants to, if that number is, striking to somebody and they say, well, I'd like to do something about that. There is money from the county that's available to make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge opportunity. If you want to look at it that way, it's a huge positive opportunity for people to really take maybe not even that big of a step. Maybe it's just a few little things that they got to tweak within their organization and we can get them there. Maybe they need a piece of equipment. We can get them there. And that'll make a huge difference in the county.
How long have you been working with Hamilton County Resource?
I have been here for just about 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have gotten to work with all kinds of wonderful communities and residents and businesses and schools that I love to see the progress happening within each of them and all the steps that they take along the way. So it's been great to develop those connections.
Has that been, environmentally conscious messaging and this outreach job that you've got right now, is that always something that you were interested in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I kind of knew from a young age I wanted to take care of the planet. I wanted to take care of all the animals on it. And it eventually led me, in late high school actually, I met with a professor at the University of Dayton. My parents were really excited for me to kind of figure out my career, see what I want, because they didn't understand what I wanted. And I ended up meeting with a professor of biology at the University of Dayton, and they kind of gave me some options of what's in the environmental field that I could look at. And I ended up going to the University of Dayton for environmental biology and environmental sustainability, and through a series of a bunch of internships and all the things you're going to go through job-wise, I ended up realizing I loved the education side of being that bridge between the science and the data and the public and helping spread the message on what we can all do.
Yeah, because I mean that's the other part of sort of what this outreach specialist job of yours is. I'm a professional speaker. The idea that you are going into schools and you're talking to kids and also talking to teachers, and that's you get to be the trumpet on the hilltop. Yeah.
Yes, and I love it. I love being able to make little bits of impacts everywhere we go, and helping, even if a kid goes home and they remember, I have to recycle my cans, I have to recycle my cardboard, and I have to tell mom and dad to do the same thing. Even if we can get that done in one student, that's a little bit. It's a little bit here and there.
Kids love that stuff, right? Being able to do the finger wag and let mom and dad know.
Yeah, I know something you might not know, mom and dad. Yeah.
Kids love that stuff. So if you are a business watching, if you are an organization watching, and this stuff is intriguing to you, how do people reach out to you to start this process?
Best way to do it is go to our website. It's kind of a one-stop shop for everything. Our website is hamiltoncountyresource.org. And if you go under the business tab, you will immediately find it. There is all kinds of help for you. There's 513 Green certification information. There is the pledge sign up if you want to sign up for the pledge, and we'll reach out to you. And there's also ways that you can request a professional enrichment seminar if you just want some education for your staff. If you want to lunch and learn something like this, if we just chit chat about all the different ways you're more sustainable, we've got all of that information for you on our website.
Not to dime anybody out, but there was a Diet Coke can that I found in the regular garbage.
Wow.
So I think we could use some seminar activity around here too.
Just let me know.
Elise Earhart with Hamilton County Resource. Thanks very much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. We are going to take another break. When we get back, we'll have more Working Lunch for you. You are watching the Working Lunch on The Crown. Stick around.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you the stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
The Crown has you covered. Start your day with First Word, Cincinnati's only morning sports show. Power through midday with the Working Lunch, Cincinnati business talk that keeps you in the know. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, and the Rebound Rundown covers every corner of the college basketball scene in the tri-state and beyond. This is The Crown. First Word for your morning sports, Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, the Working Lunch for business that hits home, and Rebound Rundown for college hoops. This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe. Cincinnati sports fans are the best. Loyal, passionate, second to none. This city lives and breathes sports, and now it finally has a morning show to match. I'm James Rapine, and this is First Word, the only morning sports show in Cincinnati and the place where every day starts. We break down the biggest moments and set the agenda for the city. Marissa Contepelli and Jacob Tissett join me to bring the insight and energy you need to start your day. The conversation starts with First Word. First Word, weekdays 7 to 11, part of the Crown Network.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah!
Hell yeah. Right. I'm doing it. How do you think I'm doing so far?
You're doing really good. Really good. You already got your shifting points down and stuff. You're able to shift, start it, brake, all that. You're standing up over the bumps, which is what we want to do, and you've already got your crashes out of the way, and you're tough, so you're going great.
I must say, I'm on a 110, which is like what little kids ride, and I'm in gear 1, okay? And even in gear 1, I'm like, okay, you can do this, And now I'm on gear 2, so excited. One day I'll get to gear 3. But the main goal, I don't know, I really want to do a jump and get some air and land it. So that's what we're going to do now on this one.
Yeah.
I think I can do it. If anything, I think I'm going to send it regardless.
You're going to send it regardless?
I'm feeling confident right now. See what
Alrighty. You want to be prepared for the landing is the biggest thing.
Okay.
You don't want to hit and lose your arms off the bars and just crash. So
I'm just gonna cruise. Cruising! Woo!
I think with just a little bit more speed you can maybe get some air.
You got it. Get bad, babe. Okay. Hey! Woo!
That was sick.
That was cool.
What do you think?
That was so much fun.
So much fun?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Thank you so much, Scott, and everyone at East Fork MX. East Fork MX, I've had a blast. My adrenaline is high. I understand why everybody does it, no matter what age. Just start it. Brett, thank you so much. From our very own pro. Actually, how many pro bikers, pro motocross racers are there in the Cincinnati area?
Not so many. I think we have a couple, you know, in Ohio. I think there's, you know, maybe 4 or 5 total in Ohio.
Wow,
So,
and you're
yeah.
one of them.
Yeah.
What royalty today. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, dude.
Of course, it was fun, and thank you for having me. I had a blast, and I always love, you know, sharing my passion with other people. So
Yeah,
it's fun.
man. It's pretty rad.
Welcome back to the Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley. We are wrapping things up here on a Thursday. Boy, you know, I mentioned that that weather last night was really rough. Checking around on some reports of storm damage through the area. It was northern Kentucky that really got the bulk of some pretty nasty weather that rolled through overnight. We had been seeing warnings earlier in the day about really heavy rain, a lot of flooding concerns. The National Weather Service reportedly sending some folks out to check on some of that damage in northern Kentucky, particularly around Florence, where things in and around that city, which is not exactly a lightly populated area, saw some damage. So that's Big Red Appliances there on the right with some damage reported there. You can see some problems on the roof. That smaller picture there on the left, that's a photo purportedly of damage at the Florence Y'alls Stadium. Some issues with some chairs and a little bit of some siding that was ripped out there. The Florence Y'all water tower, though, is okay. Some people were putting up some pictures that were doctored and were not quite right, showing like the top part of that water tower being tilted and damaged from the storm. That is not the case. It did lose power, though. Some reporting that was going on this morning talked about how the Florence Y'all water tower did have some issues with power, and that affected some water that did leak out of the tower. But as far as anybody knows, it was not directly struck by any sort of major storm to damage it in a permanent way. Again, National Weather Service does have some folks out checking to investigate some specifics on the damage to figure out if any tornadoes can be confirmed. Certainly there was some warned tornadoes that came through last night and some potential radar indicated tornadoes, but the National Weather Service experts are going to be checking that out. In terms of blackouts, you know, about 11,000 people got blacked out from that storm activity last night. Just before the show started, it was down to 6,000. We're still at about 2,000 Duke Energy customers who are blacked out. That is mostly around Florence and Union, but also taking a look at Duke Energy's outage map. I don't think we have this loaded in there, but the Carthage area in Hamilton County with a couple hundred outages still going on. That's a ways north of Florence to be seeing some issues. Radar confirmed tornadoes. National Weather Service in Wilmington did report radar confirmed tornadoes in Florence. And again, they're going to have experts out there checking for official signs of a tornado. Although once you start getting to wind speeds that are that high, other than being able to specifically designate something, what's the difference, right? That kind of wind damage is going to cause damage whether it's going in a swirl or whether it's going in a straight line. Although I would imagine for insurance purposes, a tornado designation might be really important. We mentioned Big Red Appliances there with that big 6-foot hole in their ceiling after the storm. Weather Service not expected to arrive on site for a little bit yet. They're working to get stuff put out there. I'd like to thank my guests for coming on today. The Covington City Manager, Sharmili Reddy, talking about all the different development that's going on in Covington. And again, they are going to have an open house next month for people to give input on the potential for that farmers market that they're looking to build at 257 Pike Street. Also had Elise Earhart on from Hamilton County Resource, offering a lot of options, which, you know, I wanted to ask her specifically, feeling like an uphill battle. That's a challenge to sort of constantly be playing that trumpet, beating the drum on ways to reduce waste, and food waste is such a big thing. You know, there's so many studies and reports that come out about how expiration dates and best of dates on food are largely not as concrete as one might think. Obviously, if something doesn't pass the smell test, that's a concern. And when you talk about things like fresh meat, obviously you want to keep things refrigerated. But there's so many things that aren't produce related or fresh meat that need to be refrigerated at a certain temperature that also have dates on them that ultimately end up getting thrown out. And it's really an uphill battle, and they're constantly working on that. It was interesting to me that there are resources from the county that are available to businesses that are looking to do things like bring in a dishwasher or have some other resources available there. Hey, that's our show for today. You know, we are on the Crown Network. If you're tuning in for the first time, you missed a heck of a morning show. First Word with James Rapine, bringing you all sorts of topics and takes in the sports world here locally. Marissa Contepelli and Jacob Tissett rounding out the cast of that show. All things Reds related right now. Got a big Savannah Bananas weekend coming up at Great American Ballpark. It's going to be really busy down by the banks all weekend long. Here's all the different ways that you can watch us. The Crown Network on television in a live way. Of course, you can stream us live. You can watch us on demand. CincyCrown.com is the website to do that. And there's all the different shows we have. If you've seen the promos, Nat Tries That has some wild stuff coming up with the Roller Girls, the Nat Jones Show with the interviews, and then, of course, Paul Fritchner bringing you all sorts of college sports updates with the Rebound Rundown. I believe he's checking out some things at UC today. Keep an eye on that show for updates to be given there. Appreciate you watching. Thanks very much for tuning into The Working Lunch. We'll be back tomorrow. Big Friday show of The Working Lunch here on The Crown. We'll talk to you then. Thanks a lot.